Welcome everybody to our weekly edition of Title Talk. And as always, your host, Drew.
And Aimee.
We're coming to you guys live from our studios here at
11757 Southwest Highway in Payless.
We gotta take that one in.
I got you.
Very well done. So we are, we survived another week.
We did. We made it through, well, almost survived another week.
Yeah.
Made it
well,
through.
a week from last time we did the show.
We did,
now.
yes.
So we survived another week, so that's a good thing. And we're going to be having a guest on with us here in a little while to talk a little bit about what we do and who we are and all of that fun. The great news of that is that I think it'll kind of help you guys understand a little bit more of what we were talking about last week. Aimee went into some conversation about our development and the ITG Gives Back and Home for Heroes and
spewed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of things going, and we talked about one of the things that was difficult for you for the work aspect and one of the hardest titles that you did, and it was, and it kind of segued into this conversation about CRC. So I am happy to introduce to you when he gets here our my CRC partner in our Chicago projects, which is something just, again, very, very near and dear. I think it was just a brilliant idea that he came up with.
Oh my gosh,
So,
it's...
and it's
After talking to this guy for like 10 minutes, I feel like my brain has so much new information. And
so great.
like, I feel like for 3 hours after I talked to him for 10 minutes, I just need to like decompress all of his stuff he says and all of his wisdom and
definitely one of the more intelligent people that I've met, and definitely one of my favorite people. He's obviously a very good client as well, but definitely one of my favorite people. But until that point, why don't we just get into our typical things that we like to do and go through and chat about. I have
Christina, you're not supposed to help.
I have the distinct honor to introduce to you guys one of our favorite people, definitely one of my favorite people, but our guest and our partner in CRC. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, and I'd like to introduce to you attorney Faisal Elkhatib. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Thank you for making it.
Oh, there I am.
There you are. Hello. This is Faisal.
I object to Aimee being called a loser, just for the record.
You object? Well, that's what attorneys do. They object.
I object to Aimee being a loser.
But
I'll lose the objection, but I will.
Well, at least the thought
but she is, because the game Two Truths and a Lie, she hasn't been good at. She had a run there for a little bit, but I've been able to stump her pretty quickly.
Congratulations, you're a good liar.
Well, no, you're just maybe okay. Well, we'll leave that. Yeah, you're very
leave that one alone.
So we wanted to. Aimee was talking last week. We were doing our show last week. Went into some of the hardest title searches she's done, or some of the most difficult things that she's done.
Look at his face.
In the business, right? And I mean, it would obviously have to do with anything that EV Haas brings to us, right? But first, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience so we can at least start there, and then we'll talk from there.
Absolutely. My name is Faisal Elkhatib. I'm an attorney. I'm of counsel at EV Haas LLC Attorneys at Law. We do real estate litigation and real estate transactional work. I would love to do the easy stuff, but I end up doing a lot of the hard stuff. Majority of our practice is foreclosure defense work and helping borrowers who are in distressed situations get out of their distressed situation. So coming out on the other side as cleanly and as positively as possible. I don't mean mostly positively, but also financially positive.
You've been really, I mean, it's something that, I'm so thankful that we've kind of become friends and just more than just clients and things like that. I think that the friendship is really something that I cherish. But I think what's great, and I was able to do it after a period of time. We've deemed you as the after the fact attorney, right?
I am totally the after the fact attorney. So it's remarkable how many times clients will come to me after they've gone to like 4 other attorneys and it didn't work, or they couldn't get it right, or they made it worse, and then it lands on my lap, and we got to slowly untangle the piece. And I've been pretty successful with the last decade or so, but I gotta say, there's one that's been there's one area that has been extremely difficult to untangle, almost near impossible.
What is that?
City of Chicago.
As if you had to ask.
It is remarkable how horrific they have been when it comes to dealing with properties in the south and the west side.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's where we kind of segue into what we're doing.
You like that
and-
segue?
and-
How it kind of.
That was really nice. It
Very, very
it
well
was,
done.
Yeah.
Practicing since Thursday.
Yeah, we really haven't even, we haven't even really talked about this. This is something that
Yeah.
we talk and we do. And, something that you created several years ago, which I continually share it with other people in the business of how brilliant it is this idea with what CRC is doing in creating the ability to not gentrify areas, but to really help people get back into their homes by redoing some of these abandoned homes and providing, an affordable place
housing
to live, right?
Yeah. So the concept is to redevelop or to develop and bring back online properties that have been vacant and abandoned, and do so in a way that makes them financially feasible and affordable for the community to buy into.
And I think that's the big part that we always like to, keep in the forefront of all of this, is it's not the gentrification, like you said, it's putting people back in houses that, might not otherwise get that opportunity to do so.
Right. I mean, home ownership is a very huge part of the American dream. And a large swath of our country was denied that access. Through real, I know we but through the Realtor Association, how they did things, and through government programs and lenders and banks, really created an environment to deny the black community access, black and brown community, but really targeting the black community from owning homes. And so this whole idea is to actually change that.
How did you come up with this idea?
Legitimately, that was the first, How?
So that's kind of.
Or is it a secret?
Well, yeah,
Is there
it all
trade
goes back
secret?
down to the price. I don't like to pay retail.
This is why you and I get along.
Which is, I'm laughing a little bit more steadily about that because I just kicked the table, and it's I know that so well.
Yes, I don't like paying full price. I don't want to pay retail. And wholesale.
This is why you don't like either of us.
Right, and wholesale is a little too much. So it really stemmed from the concept of trying to acquire and rehab properties just for my personal stuff. And just for clients and what have you. And it was amazing how competitive the market was in, 15, 16, 17, 8.
For sure.
Multiple bids on properties. It was almost impossible to acquire anything, to the point where there was no profit left in rehabbing properties.
Right.
So my search was how do we get down to almost buy direct from the manufacturer, right? And in this case, it was go after what nobody else wants.
Right.
So nobody
until you want it, and then
I want it. Everybody goes, "Hey, that's great.
That's
we want
a
a piece
great
of that."
idea.
It's
So true.
amazing how that happens on a regular basis.
Yep, that is so true.
So, because I think it's because we make it look so easy.
That's true too.
We just,
I think that's true too.
The way we approach it, the way we untangle it, the way we deal with it, we just make it look easy. And so people are like, oh, they want a piece of that, and they don't realize
It's not easy.
what it takes just to get to that point.
So that was deemed one of my hardest projects up to date. That is still and this was like, when did this start? At 18, right?
17.
17, end of 17, beginning of 18.
Yeah.
I mean, for you guys.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
us.
for us.
Right. His
Right,
idea.
yours was-
It started for me like late 15, early 16.
So
Yeah.
so I started here. This was a couple of months
After you were.
after I started working here. So that he introduces this project, I'm like, well, I quit. Like, this is. So he gave me a list of 100 properties and was like, I need necessary party searches on
Right.
all of these. And I was like, okay, when do you need them by? Oh, if you can give it to me in a couple weeks, that'd be great. Okay, I quit again.
Right.
Number one.
Drew, I hate this guy. This guy is too demanding.
I used to be so afraid of him, but I'm glad to say that has far surpassed now. Huge respect for everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
But every time I see an email come through that's like, okay, we're getting rid of this property, adding this property, I'm like, no more.
Well, and literally that's a point to be brought up, is that, you acquire these 100 properties. We have these 100 properties as CRC, and some of these are abandoned, and then they get demolished.
Yeah.
And now you no longer have these 100
I
properties.
just had another one the other day. So we were and I didn't know.
I don't.
Yeah, and I didn't. So what people think of just getting it's not just the 100 properties. So it is. You've got 100 properties. You've got 100 tax searches. You've got 100 municipal cases. You've got 100 foreclosures, and then you've got the properties themselves, right? So. And then managing that whole, so technically you may have 100 pieces of property, but you've got 500 cases,
Right.
500 matters around that 100. And so I was in the tax court case because there's a tax buyer trying to take one of the properties, and so we're filing our objections and everything else. And like midway through the second court call, they're like, well, there's this demolition lien from the city of Chicago that we also need to address. And I'm like, they demoed the property. Oh. So
Wait, it wasn't just
that.
an order. It was actually demoed.
Once they attach the lien, once the demolition lien hits the property, that means they've already demoed it, gone through finance, and finance attached a lien for $30,000 into the property, which trumps everybody. So
And
it's a
it's
vacant
sad.
piece of land.
Like, it's sad. So we were driving to one of our properties to go kind of look at it in Chicago, and it's so sad to see how many buildings are boarded up and
Yeah.
how many
They're beautiful buildings.
gorgeous buildings. Not just they're pieces of history. They're pieces of Chicago, and it's like just throw a demo ball at them. Like it's just
Well,
horrible.
it's the system. People think the system is broken. It's designed this way.
I don't like that.
So the laws of the city of Chicago, the Cook County Land Bank, the assessor's office, the clerk's office, all of it is designed, right? Corporation, and I love. There are many corporation accounts that I love.
Yeah.
However, they're individuals. The system is designed to ensure that the black community cannot bring itself back out, cannot
It's
own those
so-
properties, and cannot be successful, and eventually force them out of the city of Chicago, so that way they can demo everything, and 25 years from now they'll come in and they'll put some massive, huge development, and you see it. It's exactly what happened in. People may call it. I think it's called the 78, which is Roosevelt. East of Canal, there's like 78 acres that is between Roosevelt and 18th Street
Yeah.
and Clark and the river, and that was all homes and plots and lands and that is one 78 acre plot of vacant land in the middle of the city of Chicago that took 30 years to get it there, and now it's going to be this massive, huge, expensive development of
Yeah.
high-rise and mid-rise and
This
condos
is-
and stuff.
I'm going to pinpoint this as the first time I ever got goosebumps from being so angry at somebody saying something related to real estate.
It's the truth.
It is the truth, though. It's something more simple and maybe even more relatable than that address or that parcel that he's speaking of is Cabrini. You know, I mean, they knocked down what was housing for many black families, and I mean, that was right across the street from the ballpark, and that's why I know as well. I watched those things go down, and now what is it? It's a big development community of townhomes
There's
and
condos,
condos
yeah.
that it gentrified the entire area.
And they built it and then let it deteriorate. They built it and allowed it to deteriorate to get to the point where it had to be torn down.
Right.
And there may have been great intention at the beginning. And the hard part is people watching this and be like, well, okay, well, those are great top line, but what specifics, right? And I'd like to talk about a specific one.
Yeah.
I think so.
So I've got 3 clients, 3 different properties, and all of them are stuck with massive city violations. And I don't mean like the violations like, they got to fix them. I mean city fines.
Okay.
So in 2008, when the market crashed, the city was going after banks and started hitting properties with $10,000 and $20,000 and $30,000 fines to force the banks to pay up.
Okay.
Many banks paid. I believe Fannie and Freddie cut a deal eventually once Bush came out of office and Obama came in. They made a deal. The Department of Justice made a deal because the city can't fine federal government, right? So you can't. But they made a deal that they would deal something about that. Well, many banks got hit, and they were able to skirt the fine and not pay it and still convey the properties. So now I've got several clients who are sitting on fines upwards of $60,000 a property. The value of the property isn't more than 40 grand.
Right. Upside down.
Just the city fine is 60 grand. So now that I go to negotiate with the city and the city's like, oh, well, we were not going to reduce more than 20%. But that's still 40 grand.
Right.
You've got title fees, costs, your own transfer tax. I got to pay a transfer tax to the city,
To the
right? We got your water
Which are
bill,
insane.
Right.
right?
Like-
And the property's going to remain vacant and boarded up unless someone takes it over,
Right.
right? And so then they're like, well, then the land bank will come in. So the land bank will come in, they'll wipe out the title clean, but they'll still stick the owner with a $60,000 bill that they can't get rid of. So now here's the worst part. You cannot discharge city debt with bankruptcy. Because it's a government
Lien.
debt. It's a government lien. So even if you file bankruptcy,
Doesn't go away.
it doesn't go away.
Even if they're raised on foreclosure.
Oh,
The
not
foreclosure is to taking of the property.
Okay.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
I'm talking about the personal liability.
Yeah, personal
became
liability.
Tied to
Okay.
those fines will still be there. A bankruptcy will not eliminate that.
Right.
Thanks to an attorney who I know very well, who I totally disagree with on the way he did things, but he became a bankruptcy attorney for the city of Chicago and reversed the city's position. The city at the time was like, okay, yeah, it's bankruptcy, we'll let it go.
Stop it.
He reversed, single-handedly, reversed the city's position and enforced the fact that the city debt won't be wiped out, and as a result of his particular act, has burdened the entire Black and brown community with this debt.
So Faisal, with all of that, like, what do you see, or how do you see any kind of a light at the end of the tunnel through any of this stuff?
I don't know. I have.
Yes, you fought this for 5+ years.
Yep.
And you've run into many different obstacles, and many of those you've kind of overcome. And when the moment we feel that we're gaining momentum, there's another one thrown in front. And it just seems as though at any time we start gaining momentum, there's another one thrown in front to really inhibit our ability to do what your vision is to do.
It's blatant racism.
Yeah.
Blatant racism. And it's systemic, and nothing will change that unless the policies and the politics change, right? Because there's what I've been learning, and I mean, being Palestinian Muslim, I've got my own discrimination, right, that I face, but it's nothing, and everyone has their own things, whether you're gay, whether you're bisexual or
Woman sometimes.
woman, absolutely, all the time,
Yeah.
right? Woman, Black, Asian. Hispanic, there's all the different things, but the racist policies that exist against the Black and brown communities, they'll talk about doing one thing here, and then they'll do something on the other side, and the effect will cancel each other out. So they created the land bank to free up and untangle a lot of these properties, and they're like, okay, we've untangled these properties, well, the community stakeholders are stuck with the debt that you removed from the property.
And that's part of the corruption of what we talked about earlier.
So then how are you going to find the buyers to buy these houses?
You're not.
They're not coming from the community.
No.
They're coming from the north side.
Right.
Yeah.
You just gentrified the area.
Absolutely. Because now as a Black woman or Black man who's sitting on a $60,000 city debt, you will never get a loan.
Right. Right.
Because you got to pay off that loan.
Right.
So how are you going to pay off that loan if you're buying a house for $250,000?
No, it's a really bad situation that
It's a vicious cycle.
that you're fighting. We're fighting. I guess we're all fighting together. This system that there's no give in it, and there's going to be no change in it because it's been this way for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Right.
How many thoughts are in your head right now then?
Well, just so. Yes, it's.
And you get rattled
systemic.
talking about this.
Oh, it's systemic
Well,
racism.
That's what I mean. And
It's infuriating.
Yeah.
Because
I
it's.
see
It's
it.
definitely triggered by it. There's no question.
Yeah,
about
it's-
this. There's a charge to that because he's in it every day in the courts. He's watching the system in front of him not make sense, and I think that's one of the hardest things to listen to is going, you're not making sense. Like you want this to get better, but you're not making sense.
I think where everybody gets caught, I've heard it so many times is, look, I'm just doing my job. My job is to make sure that this building is compliant, otherwise we have to tear it down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yes, but your job is impacting thousands of properties. Do something different.
Right.
So everyone's just doing their job,
Right.
right? And so until they decide to do something different or do some, and then until they decide to do something different, nothing's going to change.
Correct.
But then the policy has to change. I mean, the you know, my father had said this to me the other day, and it was like you have a black mayor, you've got a black Cook County board president, you've got a black state's attorney,
Right.
right?
Right.
I can't remember, was the chief of police for the city of Chicago?
He's
He's
black.
black,
Yeah.
right? And you still have systemic racism.
Right.
That's
You have a black attorney general,
Yes, we do.
right? So the system is the way it is, and until there's courage and boldness to actually make a significant change. And then they'll tell you on the other side, well, we have to balance our budget. The city makes its money off the backs of poor people. Red light tickets, speeding tickets,
Right.
city fines and violations.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's a moneymaker. And,
Right.
and let's talk about the water department. That's a whole
Oh, no. Yeah.
that's a whole nother thing. So I don't know what the answer is.
Right.
I mean, and I know you and I differ on this. I'm all about just wipe out the debt, right? Zero out the debt. I don't know what your position. Well, I judge being a Republican, and I don't mean that as a curse word.
stay tuned.
But I think there has to be some sort of level where certain amounts of debt are just wiped out to zero.
Well, I think that I'm encouraged by
No, that's the FBI.
the process of the process of what we're doing and what CRC is, and I believe and have bought into the process and the program. I never for a minute believed or thought that it would be as complicated as it has been as corrupt as it has been, and as slow moving as it has been.
Yeah, and I do have. I mean, I would be remiss to say that to ignore that there are people out there who really are trying to do something different, right? There is a lot of people in the building department. There's a lot of people in planning and development in the city of Chicago. There are even a lot of people in corporation council. They do want to do something different, right? But it's going against the grain, right? So CRC wouldn't have its opportunity and its ability but for many in corporation council and many in the building department and many in planning and development saying, hey, we're going to help wipe out all these liens.
Right.
We're going to help wipe out all this water debt, right? And move forward. I mean, really where CRC's biggest obstacle now has come in is really with the taxes.
I was gonna say. What
That's
about
really
taxes,
has been
right?
the tax. The biggest problem has been the taxes.
Because those don't get wiped.
The receiver's lien does not trump the taxes.
Correct.
Which is interesting. That's a whole that was a whole state of Illinois type legislature, because a lot of the big power players within the state in terms of politics were all tax attorneys.
Right.
So they weren't going to
So of
change
course
that.
they're not gonna. Yeah.
No one's
budge
going to
on
touch that. However, though, I mean, we'll find ways to get around it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'll do our couple of times like we've
Yeah,
been doing.
we'll just keep going, and then we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah,
But,
and
Slow burn.
and what we've done and what we've been doing thus far is literally that is we'll do a property here and there, and I'll tell you that the feeling of that is still outweighs the negative that Faisal speaks of with regard to all the BS of the city. Now maybe he can't appreciate it as much as I can or we can because of the development side of it, because he's in the really the thick of it, dealing with the politics and the corruption and the racism that he speaks of. I mean, he's dealing with it very, very often. We're on the other side of that thing in the house trying to create this home, and then when we see a buyer coming in for this place and excited about it, I'm telling you that,
Especially our last buyer.
that just,
She was a peach.
it just really, really makes why we do it worth it. And I think that's what keeps me moving through it, and that's what keeps my excitability up. And I think if we were doing it a little bit more frequently, you could maybe buy into some of that as well.
Oh, I definitely am proud of kind of the accomplishments that we've had and how we've come through, and this is going to be a long look. This is, like you said, this is This is years of systemic racism and systems that have been pulled together, and it's amazing. Every white community comes in, or the white group of people comes in afterwards. They just make it more difficult than the group before them in a more insidious, different way, right? So you're building on layers and layers and layers and layers of racism and policies and laws and regulations that we slowly have to kind of peel away and pare away. And that's nothing that we can do, right? All we can do is figure out a way to manage and navigate our way through that process as best as we can, and take the wins where we take them. And
I mean, I think that we said that if we, of these 100, if we do 30 of them, that's a win. That's huge.
Oh, absolutely.
That's huge. I mean, I know that our numbers and our goals and ideas are much greater, much broader, but I think that we just keep fighting this and keep doing it, and I think we'll get into numbers that are in that 20, 30, 40 range. No doubt about it. I mean, that's my aspiration, is to do this because I believe in it, and I think it is something that is. I think many people have asked me independently, what makes you think that you can take on the city and do this when other people have tried? But the other people who have tried don't have the team that we do.
Yeah, and
a lot of that is the hats off to you and Courtney, obviously.
Absolutely, and I think there's two things that came up for me as you were talking, and one of them is what makes it work is our cost of acquisition, right? The fact that we can get into these properties so low is what really makes it feasible,
right?
And that's really the only way to get around it. So when I see, for example, like the land bank, when they take these properties for free, right? They didn't pay anything for it, and they try to sell it for 90% or 85% of market value, or even 80% of market value, that's still cost prohibitive.
Sure.
Right? So acquiring a property for 40 grand and then putting 150 grand into it still doesn't make it affordable, because there still needs profitability.
Right.
So what makes this work is the ability to take that from that $40,000 or $50,000 purchase price down to
Taxes.
10, right?
Yeah.
Right? So when you're at 10,000, now there's room to be profitable and to provide affordability. Right, so you're ensuring that there's no gentrification.
Right.
And I think that's a part that's really being missed by the policymakers. And then the other thing I'm very conscious of is I'm not here to be this white knight.
Right.
Right. I'm not here to save the black community. The part of what this is also empowering the black community and trying to work with and find black realtists and realtors to be the brokers. Also finding black surveyors and black architects and black contractors, black subcontractors. It's very critical, because all of this is for naught if we can't, if they're not part of the process. Otherwise, we just show up as some white knight that we're the white savior, and that's just hogwash.
No.
And that's important.
Providing jobs and providing opportunities is also essential to the growth of this thing, for sure. Yeah, it has been a many-year process, and I appreciate you sharing, your time about it and what you've gone through and really what it means. And I think that you've spoken passionately about it because it is. I mean, you still wouldn't be doing it. We wouldn't have any interest in pursuing this if there wasn't a light at the end of this tunnel. I mean, you could have bowed out 100 times through this process. There have been many things that stood in your way to go, this isn't worth it. And we've had those conversations. I don't think I want to do this anymore. This is stupid. This is dumb. And then, a light goes on, and we all kind of, get together and put our heads together and find another route. And then they stand in front of you there.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people tell me how, that it's insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I think it's a great thing, and I'm proud to be part of it and be involved in it. And I think that you keep your head up and keep pushing through it, and you got the support of the team behind you to do it. And I know Aimee loves doing what she does with it, and all the ridiculousness.
I can only do what I do is because I've got a title company behind me that supports me.
Well,
you should probably know who they are.
Do I know them?
I don't know.
Okay, well, yeah, maybe you want to introduce them. But we, that's the friend piece that we kind of just take, we just take for granted sometimes. And
I don't want to, not to downplay that at all. It really makes it possible because of the title company. Right? There's a lot of title companies that I've worked with that are fine in what they do. However, sometimes there needs to be a more in-depth conversation that can be had without someone who's skittish, right? And I don't mean like there's title companies where you start having the conversation about the complications of title and how we untangle it, and they cancel the file. They can't deal with it. It's just too much for them, right? And look, I love the simple deals. It doesn't always have to be a rough, complicated.
You ever had a simple deal?
They've come across every now
I think
and then.
there's one
I don't think
I'm working
we've ever done it though. You might
I
have
think
been.
there's one on my desk currently in my
Yeah.
stack to do today.
I think he goes to the other title companies for those because they don't cancel them.
But so it's
He's kind of cute, nice with some of them. I get it.
yeah. So the idea is having a title company that you can have the conversation with, who truly understands the intricate aspects of real estate law.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's
thank
for
you
sure.
to you guys, to you, Amy, to Drew,
course.
Miguel, John, Courtney, Brittany.
Yeah.
Did I get them all? Christina.
Yeah.
You have a Brittany, right?
There is a Brittany.
There's a Brittany.
Hi, Britt.
Hi, Brittany.
Yeah.
Being a part of this project is much of a headache as it is. It's something really special and really close to me, and
Well, thank you for that.
of course, and I'm very lucky and very blessed to be a part of it. So thank you for trusting us with that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely.
It's a big undertaking, and when we first looked at it, it was.
I pulled out my map last week.
Yeah, you didn't bring it in today, did you?
No, I can
Okay.
show them after this.
Yeah, okay.
Where I mapped out all of these 100 places on my
She
it's
blew up Illinois,
Chicago, not Illinois.
yeah.
Chicago.
and she has dots and as to where every parcel of these 100 are.
And I was like, it makes sense to try to do these three together
Right.
to do it. And Drew's like, stop, put it away.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. Don't put it away. Yeah, you got the right idea. That's really how to target it.
That's right.
Fine. The idea was to cluster them.
Yes.
Right. So that way you're hitting 3 of them all at the same time. Which reminds me, I need a quote on that Garfield property, by the way. I had gotten them. Yeah. Okay. So she's right.
Everyone just bask in that for 1 second. It doesn't happen enough.
No, it's good. Is there anything else you want to plug while you're here? Anything else that you'd like to talk about that you'd like to get off your chest?
If you have a
share?
really easy real estate that you need a seller's attorney
Hey,
for,
please hit me up.
find this guy.
No, I always say you want the guy that, I mean, I'm one of those, I'm the guy that you want when everything goes sideways and you don't know when that's going to happen.
That is
You always want him on your team.
Right?
Yeah.
So when it does go sideways and you don't have a guy like me there, it's too late.
right.
It's too late. So the benefit that I bring to the table is I can bring the deal, and it's just a gift and it's a blessing that I have from God, but it's I can bring the deal together, I can find the piece. If I can't figure it out, it's
probably not gonna
we're
happen.
never going to close.
Yeah.
I mean, I once did a deal, short sale,
Oh, God.
probate, on the guardian ad litem for the child with a probate estate, in the
I
middle of
remember
a
that one.
foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was yeah.
All yours start to run together because they all have an equal level of messy.
Yes, they all just look the same.
But yet it has challenged Amy. It has taught you a lot. I mean, they've been wonderful learning things.
Oh, they've
And-
been great.
And I think there's
Great
a
learning
creativity
things.
that also comes to play because, as he mentioned earlier, it's not just about fitting in the box. It's about going, hey, you know what, we can get this deal done, and here's another way. And his persistence and pursuit of that is also important to the client, and it's in the best interest of the client to get the deals closed. So, that's what an attorney's supposed to do. They're supposed to work on your behalf, not against you.
Yep.
Right? I mean.
And mention Title Talk, and you'll get 50% off your seller's attorney fees.
She just cut your Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. It's
Faisal is definitely.
I'll give you a 20% discount off the attorney fee and take 30% off the title.
See, that's how he operates.
game over.
Nice job, man.
You should do another show. The next one you do should be about the CARES Act deferments.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Because that's coming due. Because many people are hitting that 1 year mark.
right.
Is it the
Of the loan
forbearance?
deferment.
Yeah.
It's the forbearance that many borrowers got when COVID started,
Right.
under the some of the CARES Act, or what do they call
Yeah.
it, back last year. I don't know how much time we have, but you should definitely dedicate a nice segment to that because
You want to come back?
I'll come back next week. But It's not what I thought it was.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't
So
say anything else.
I won't. It's
Keep
not
the-
what I
keep
thought
the
it was.
listeners-
It's there's some things you have to be aware of.
I think it's worth talking about.
I think so, too.
and because, like you said, we are up against it. It seems like the pandemic is winding down, and now all of a sudden there's a new spike because they've opened up a lot of different things. So who
Schools are
knows
opening
what's
for
going to
spring
happen?
break, Yeah.
But what we do know is going to happen is the banks are going to get theirs.
Yeah.
So regardless of what happens in the outside world, the banks are sitting there going, "Yay, we're
about time."
almost ready."
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna start
Affect a lot of people.
a whole nother conversation between the foreclosures and the short sales and all these different
Absolutely.
things that take time. And you're obviously well versed in that. We've done so many of those deals, not only together, but it's just it's sad. They really are sad because everything we just talked about with CRC and doing something positive and doing something right. Now you've got this other side where we're trying to ultimately protect you guys out there as buyers, sellers, borrowers, that if you didn't get a job in this COVID period of time,
Or if you
were laid
lost
off,
a job, or
yeah,
you're laid off, or downsized.
you're not going to be able to afford that house when the forbearance is up. I mean, what are you going to do?
I don't think people understand the impact, because when the restaurant shuts down, the restaurant doesn't buy. First of all, you got all the staff are gone, right?
Right.
Then they're not buying food,
Right.
Yeah.
but then they're not buying the supplies. So they're not buying the
The trickle down.
napkins.
Yeah, it's all trickle down.
Right.
Right.
So then the napkin manufacturer or the distributor who's selling that isn't selling that. So they have to cut back on their staff and their people,
Right.
and then the manufacturer who's making the napkins has to shut down their machines because they can't supply. Right.
For sure.
Because half the food, you can't just repackage food that's supposed to go to the restaurant and put it in the
Right.
stores. It doesn't
No.
work that way.
No.
So there's going to be an impact all the way down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's cool. We'll
So
definitely
we'll talk about that.
We'll definitely chat about that next week
Yeah.
and give some talk about that
I
as
get to
well.
come back
So
next week.
if you're lucky,
Cool.
yeah, if your time
I'll
allows,
Oh, if we're
I'll
not
talk
inside
to
a
Amy.
hole.
yeah,
I'll talk to Amy.
yeah.
Inside a hole.
Inside of a hole. No. That's a whole other conversation. So
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being a part of this, and
awesome.
and we have gifts because we like to give gifts to our guests, like
Oh, wow.
Title Talk T-shirt, and you get yourself a nice Title Talk mug. So we appreciate you, and
Amy
and
Drew.
we thank you for your knowledge and your expertise.
So you don't forget
and,
us.
And definitely like to have you on this because it really does give some people some education out there, and we're socially using this everywhere to really help the community in understanding. It's not about title, which is kind of mundane. There's so many other pieces to real estate that just keep playing in, and I think that the different facets from lending to the real estate part to the attorney side of it, I think it's all important.
Did
So
you get me triple X?
there's no such thing.
Oh, Lord.
Can you imagine how big the light bulb and microphone would be on that? That'd be
Not
quite
touching
large. Yeah, that'd be quite large. So, but yeah. And we will end this with, we probably won't talk too much about ITG Gives Back today.
The only thing I do want to say about that is we do have a place. We have a golf course, golf course.
The golf course. Yes.
So we are doing our blood drive next week,
April 1st.
April 1st. Wanted to say that, and then we are booked in for Glenwoody for a golf outing.
Yep.
So it's going to be the second annual Tim Garvin golf outing in memory of my cousin, and that will be happening at Glenwoody July 24th.
Yeah, we're really happy to be a part of that,
Look at his
sponsoring
face.
that and all that. This literally just came to
It
fruition.
legitimately, it was like yesterday we got the
We have
details.
a segment called Inspired
He has a
Title Gives
tendency of
Back.
having these golf outings and not inviting me.
Oh no, we haven't even sent out invitations. You're on the list.
In general, you've done these golf things and
It's 'cause
you
you
invite
usually
everybody around me, but you haven't
You
invited
golf for 4 holes and then you work.
Right.
That's not true.
Or you golf in sandals.
All right, so the
You-
problem with the cigar, the problem was, and does she know about my 180-yard drive now?
No.
I can drive now.
I
In
can
a
still
cart.
drive. I'll drive you, but that's okay.
Oh.
I'm just
Wow.
We're married.
We're,
No, I used to. I was fun for the camaraderie, but now I can actually.
way to go.
I know. I was pretty excited. I
Do
mean,
you
I can't go past 180, but
That's great though.
I'm good with 180.
It was much better than the 18 we were getting last time. So
Right.
And we are
This is
also
what I get for
partners.
being nice to Amy.
I'm No, but for real. But that's
We're also affiliated with the Homes for
Homes for
Heroes.
Heroes. We are doing our first deal.
We are doing our first Home for Heroes deal, which we will make a pretty big deal out of that and kind of celebrate the teacher who is
Our hero.
part of the program. She's our hero in this instance, so
Yeah.
we'll be able to share with you guys what that looks like and what we're able to do with that. So if you know any heroes out there that are in the market to buy or sell, send them our way. We are more than happy to help them and discount some of their fees and things because we are thankful for all that they do. So how about your quote of the day, Aim? What do you got?
I have, you only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough.
That's not bad. That's not bad. And I am in the process of becoming the best version of myself. Do you have a favorite quote that you like to spew out every now and again? That you can say live without...
Besides think different, think inspired.
There's actually a great quote from Teddy Roosevelt.
There's many. She uses them.
Have you, and I don't know if you guys are fans of Brené Brown.
Oh.
Go ahead.
No, go. I thought you were going to bring your Teddy Roosevelt, and if it was the same one, I would.
It's the one where was Teddy Roosevelt quote about the gladiator. Are you familiar with that one? I had it on my Facebook. Man in the Arena.
No.
No, share it.
Oh, this is a great one. Okay, so we're gonna work on your internet. It is not the critic who. This is the man in the arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man. Sorry.
Oh, your eyeballs are going.
Yeah.
Yep. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or whether the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man, or the person, who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself or herself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. The man in the arena.
It's intense.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
It is intense, yeah.
Don't do anything lightly.
No, that's a true statement.
I kind of want to get that on my wall.
Yeah, it's a true
I'll
statement.
send it to you.
It's
Yeah.
cool. It's really
Right?
good.
So, as those of us who are in the arena,
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
doubt, no doubt. Thank you guys for joining us today and joining us every week. We certainly appreciate you. And we are Inspired Title, and this is Faisal, our favorite attorney. And it looks like he'll be here next week joining us. And Amy, why don't you close us out of here today?
You just did.
I didn't say goodbye.
Bye.
bye.
No, I'm just kidding. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you watching, tuning in, and commenting. So please make sure to like, share, Instagram, Facebook, and all that fun stuff.
All those things. Until next week, guys. Take care. Have
Take
a great
care.
week. Bye-bye.